Need to do at least 100 reps. And I've been saying this a lot of times, and I realize now why Roberto Blake and even Gary Vee, they've all talked about doing the 100 reps, the first 100 reps, not 100 reps a day, which is what I talked about in one of my last videos, but literally just doing 100 reps first. This goes for blogging, podcasting, and video, let alone all three. And then on top of that, it's also a matter of like short form video, even like short posts, like Facebook posts and Twitter posts. You don't learn how to really make those until you've done 100 reps with it. So literally across the board, no matter what kind of content you are making, you need to do 100 reps. This could even be applied really to any skill, like doing 100 push-ups. Like you don't necessarily know how to do a good push-up until you've done 100 of them. And so this idea, I don't know why it's so hard for people to understand that like when you are trying to make content, you need to learn the skill. People keep focusing, how do I make money? How do I grow? Well, you're not going to do either one of those things if your content sucks. And you don't know if your content sucks until you've done enough content to know that your old content sucks. If I go back on my first channel and look back in the first few videos, I applied some cool color grading to it. It looks kind of decent, but the audio was monotone. I had clipping in my audio because I had a crappy mic. And I mean, I kind of realized it at the time, but I had no idea how to fix it. And then on top of that, I'm sitting there at the camera like this, trying to read a script. And it just doesn't work. And I sort of knew that was kind of bad, but again, had no idea how to fix it, how to do anything different. And even now, I'm looking at the camera, I'm gesturing, I'm excited, I'm expressive. These are all skills that I've learned after doing hundreds of videos, and I'm still only getting started. There's people who have 900 videos who are still learning things. You learn as a creator. If you want to get better, you have to put in the reps. And so people keep asking. I just saw a Reddit post today. It's kind of what inspired this video a little bit. They're like, how can I make money as a blogger? How can I grow as a blogger? And it's like, you can't. You have to make content first. You have to have a pool of content for people to actually go check out. When you start a new YouTube channel, you shouldn't just start it with just one video. Start it with 5. You have 1 that you're launching the day of, and then 4 that you're launching that week, just so people can actually see what's going on. And so, or even though you have like 3 right away and then launch 2 ahead of time, so you have like 2 weeks of a buffer, something like that. At the very least, you have like about 5 videos that you can then have kind of a collection so people can see you. They want to see more of you, they can go see that video. Then it goes for blogs and podcasts. You should have a few set up so that if someone actually likes your content, even though it's new, they can see what else you have. From there, you create more and more content and learn the reps, learn the skills, and allow yourself to become better at doing it. As you get stronger and stronger as a content creator, regardless if it's written audio or video, whichever one you like, eventually you're more likely going to start doing some of the other kind of content. This channel is about being the modern content creator. And in my opinion, the modern content creator does all 3. But that includes and that entails that you need to get 100 reps in all 3 content types. That takes a long time. I do say that you can do it either serialized, where you do just blogging first, then podcast, then video, or vice versa, or you can do all 3 at once and just build it up slowly if you have the patience for it. But again, you're splitting your attention 3 ways, and so it's going to take a little bit longer. Now, if you have plenty of time, it may not take as long. I think a lot of these creators, they talk about niche down, or do just one thing. But they're also kind of thinking about it in a way of like, hey, you have a full-time job, you might have a family, so you don't have enough time to be doing all. I, on the other hand, for a while there, I worked very minimally. I made enough money comparatively to other people of my age per hour that I was able to pay for my bills. It wasn't like I was making a lot of money because I only got a handful of hours, but I made more money per hour, so I worked less hours. And so I actually had a lot more control over my time in my early 20s, which I think was a very smart decision for me to do. It sucked because I wasn't able to save up as much or even move or travel, but I was able to have control over my time and live the way I wanted to live. And I think that was a very interesting case. And so the idea of being able to have enough time to actually do all that content is a whole nother story. Hope the fan's not too loud. And so being able to do all 3 is fine, but again, you have to start keeping track. So I would start working on a database. You might have to learn some knowledge management too, just to get a Notion database going, and you have all 3 content types. If you plan it out right, you can execute pretty well. I, on the other hand, overplanned and under-executed. And so I had hundreds of ideas planned out ahead of time and had it orchestrated. I had it orchestratedly organized. And I was ready to execute, and then it just didn't happen. And so it wasn't until after doing probably 100 interviews that I finally got back on track with a lot of my content. And now that I've done 200 interviews between the two different channels, I still feel like I have a lot of content to put out. But I'm still making a lot of content like this that are just inspiration based, where like, oh, this is a cool idea, I want to talk about it. And so I wanted to make this video today, not just ranting to you that you need to do 100 reps. I wanted to talk a little bit about what that looks like, because essentially you're going to sit down, you might do like 5 reps. Now, me and Doc on the Brand Doctor show, we actually did an episode where we're like, hey, here's what the first 100 posts should look like. So I would definitely go check that out on this channel and just see what kind of things can you do in order to express your content, but also get through that 100 reps as quickly as possible. There are ways of repurposing, and that is a great way, because something I told the person on the blogging subreddit was, yes, you have the 100 reps of your main pillar piece, but you also need to market that content. YouTube does a decent job at actually sharing your stuff. And if you were to blog on Medium or LinkedIn articles, you had the social network effect. Technically, Substack has that too, but you cannot rely on that. YouTube, it's a little bit more reliable, but you still need to kind of SEO optimize. People say there's no YouTube SEO anymore, but there is. You need to have tags, you need to have keywords, you need to have a good title, not to mention a good thumbnail, but that's more human optimized rather than SEO optimized. You want your title and description and your tags to be relatively related. You don't need to go crazy with it. You don't need to have like 50 tags. And actually, if you record in Riverside, it actually gives you tags. Other tools, I think, do it too. And you can always use AI to kind of summarize video too, and then find the tags from there. You don't have to do a whole lot of work to get it done. In fact, I record the Brand Doctor show currently on Riverside. And so I just copy the keywords, put it at the bottom of the description, put it in the tags box, and it boosts the SEO score on all these different analyzers like crazy. Coffee break. My mouth was getting dry and I wanted to get some more caffeine. So this idea of pursuing the 100 reps, not a day, which is what my last video is about. That is kind of the goal at the end, at least for me, at least for the modern content creators. But if you want to get on that path towards that, you need to get to 100 reps as quickly as possible. And so doing 100 reps a day entails you have the skills to do social media, to do blogging, to do podcasting, to do videos, because you really need to be doing all of them to achieve that high number count. So if that's the goal, then you need to learn how to just do any of that content in general. You can repurpose your blog post into tweets and quote images and learn social media over time and start learning repurposing in a very slow and effective manner. You don't have to necessarily be really great at it. And then as you get better and better, you start making more videos. You can do podcast audiograms, video clips with using an Opus clip. You can use repurposing tools to help you. It's not a big deal. You can do it yourself, and it's probably good for you to do, to actually learn the skills of video editing and learn how does an actual good clip look like. And once you get better at learning these skills, it becomes easier and easier to do it. So with repurposing, it is a skill in of itself, but repurposing big content to short content, repurposing between platforms like syndicating, there's a lot of different kinds of repurposing, and even just taking the pillar pieces and changing them up into like something else, like taking a blog post and using AI text-to-speech to make it into a podcast, right? There's ways of doing repurposing that most people don't even think about, let alone that are options. And so the idea behind that is a skill of itself too. And so in order to become a modern content creator, the whole premise of this channel for the most part, besides the tool aspect, is that it takes time, and I want to try to help you get there at the fastest way possible, because you have to do 100 reps of blogging, 100 reps of podcasting, 100 reps of video creation, 100 reps of social media, 100 reps of repurposing, right? That is a lot, but it doesn't have to take a long time. And if you are able to really strategize, like let's say you do, instead of doing 3 at once, right? Or you could do that. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's do 100 reps of blog post, 100 reps of podcast, and then 100 reps of video, and you just sequential them. And then afterwards, like after you get done with the 100 reps of blog posts, like, okay, let me start over. 100 days of blog posts, then 100 days of podcasts. And as you're doing 100 days of podcasting, you do 1 blog post a week. So you drop down from daily to weekly, but that still allows you to have what? Like, if that's 100 days, 3 months, or about 3 months and a week. Why am I not mathing? For like nearly 20 blog posts, like 18 blog posts, right? And so you're still doing a number of blog posts in that time span. But then on top of that, you do the next 100 days of video. And as you do the 100 days of video, you are starting to do the blog post still, on the video side, but then you're also doing a podcast while you're doing a video, and you're continuing that habit. You're just slowing it down so that way it doesn't take as much work and time and effort, because doing it daily takes a lot of effort. However, it is the fastest way to do this. And so I'm trying to give you strategies and a way to accelerate your growth towards a modern content creator, because you can't skip past this. You have to put in the reps. This isn't just like me or Roberto Blake saying this like because we want you to do what we did. No, it's just true. You don't know what you don't know until you've done it. And then, or you've done something that causes a problem and you need to learn how to fix it. I can't tell you how many times DaVinci Resolve has broken down on me, and I'm sure plenty Adobe Premiere has happened to a lot of people too. And then if you're left without your video editor, what do you do to make a video? And now there's more alternatives like Opus Clip and Riverside, and I'm using Meld Studio to record, and so I'm probably going to drop it into an AI tool to let it chop up all the broken speeches and stuff like that. And I might have to go in there and cut out the coffee break or the coughing or whatever. And so there's different ways of doing it now that accelerate it. And with AI tools, you don't necessarily have to learn as much as you used to, but you still have to put in the work of learning how to video edit to make videos. I mean, you could upload the raw, but it's probably not going to do that great. I try to do mostly raw, but I try to cut out the pauses and weird moments where this just doesn't really help you at all. And this idea behind getting through those 100 reps as soon as possible, you don't just stop there. You do the 100 reps of blog. Well, let me start from the other side. 100 reps of blogs, 100 reps of podcasts, 100 reps of video. And then it kind of starts over. And you don't necessarily have to do the sequential aspect anymore. I mentioned earlier that you could do all three at once. After doing all three of those 100-day sprints, that's when you start doing all three at once. And that could be really interesting. So let's say you do 100 days of blogs, 100 days of podcasting, 100 days of video, and then you decide, okay, let's do 30 days of doing all three of them daily, right? That's kind of interesting because you've already done about 120 blog posts at this point, and then maybe, let's say, probably 140 blog posts, 120 podcasts, and then you've started just about 100 videos at this point. When you get to this stage, you're like, okay, let's do 30 a day. So let's now 140, 150 of each. And so you're kind of staggering them a little bit, but they're all getting kind of relatively around the same 150 amount. Now you've done 30 a day. Let's start slowing it down. Let's do one a week, right? You're starting to get back into a consistency habit now again. And so now you're just doing one blog post, one YouTube, and one podcast a week. But now you can start learning more and more about repurposing and social media, because you've learned that before. You can't just like make content and not share it. You've learned a little bit already, but now you can focus on it. You've done all the work to learn all the main pillar pieces, and you've done them now for 150 reps each. So you don't have to worry about getting that skill as fast anymore. You still have to learn and you still have to improve, but now you can focus on a new skill, which is like social media or repurposing or both. And then you learn something new about making videos, or maybe you start doing an interview series, or maybe you decide to do something along the lines of a new YouTube channel. Maybe you want to start a newsletter. Maybe you want to start doing a course or book. That's when you can finally start doing some monetization stuff. You probably have grown enough maybe to actually get monetized, depending on how fast you grew. And so that's the cycle a little bit, right? And a lot of people, they'll see this, what I'm talking about. And for them, it takes 7 years. It takes 5 years. And for me, it's kind of taken something similar too. I'm still not even 1,000 subscribers to get monetized on my channel, but I've gotten about half the views that I need to get monetized on that channel. And so it's very interesting to think about how, even though I've been doing it for a long time, the scale of when I did those 100 reps and then the 30 reps and then the weekly, that took years versus just 100 days, 30 days. I'm trying to help you condense it down towards a smaller amount. Now, I don't have anything else to really share for this video, so I'm going to end it here. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know down below. But the point is 100 reps, 30 reps, and then weekly.